guys, what's up? My name is Elizabeth and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So in this video, I'm going to talk about 5 of the books that I read over this winter break. And so I want to talk about 5 of the top ones. I think I read about 7 altogether. So yeah, this is 5 out of 7. But these are the books I would recommend for other folks to read again. So with that being said, let's just jump right in and get started. Okay, y'all. So the first book here that I have is C.S. Lewis, Mere Christianity. And if you go looking up what books you ought to read, C.S. Lewis, Mere Christianity will be on top of those lists. That's kind of how I ended up coming by it, because I kept hearing suggestions about reading this and how this would be a great book to read, and I will agree as well. So I highly suggest you read C.S. Lewis, Mere Christianity. And so I want to talk about each of the books, just a little peruse over what's in the books and what I really liked or got out of the books. So for Mere Christianity, I really liked how it focused on proving there's a God. And when I say a God, is that it wasn't talking about the one true God. It's just talking about, at the bare minimum, that there is a God who created this universe. We didn't just come out of nothing. So one quote I really like it out of Mere Christianity is this: if the whole universe has no meaning, we should never have found out that it has no meaning. C.S. Lewis also goes on and talks about the importance of Jesus and him being perfect and fully who he said he was, because he explains, a man who was merely a man and said the sort of things Jesus said would not be a great moral teacher. He would either be a lunatic or on the level with the same man who says he is a poached egg, or else he would be the devil of hell. You must make your choice. Either this man was and is the Son of God, or else a madman, or something worse. Another quote that I also wanted to just mention was this one on page 57 of this book. It says, "The worse you are, the more you need it, and the less you can do it. The only person who could do it perfectly would be a perfect person, and he would not need it." Thought that was interesting. Since we are sinners, and we are so rebellious, the more rebellious we are, the harder it is to repent. But the more rebellious we are, the more we need to repent. And that's pretty much what he is saying here. I just really like reading Mere Christianity. It's literally the foundation of the faith, of the Christian faith. And it has such profound, making you stop and think, okay, why do I believe in Christianity? What's the foundation of this all? And he's kind of like apologetic in his way of debating this. So, okay, y'all. So let's move on to Let Me Be a Woman by Elisabeth Elliot. Now, if you don't know who Elisabeth Elliot is the wife of Jim Elliot, who actually ended up dying among the natives that he preached. Actually, I believe they killed him. So that's who she is. Anyhow, the book Let Me Be a Woman is pretty much a debate of short little debates against the feminist revolution. And even though this was written a long time ago, everything in here is still very, it's still very needed to this day. One quote that I really like from her that I think really goes great against the feminist revolution is this. She said, Elisabeth Elliot says this: "They are capable of doing a great many things they are not supposed to do. The ability to do them is not a command to do them." A lot of times the feminists are like, so we can do it, that means we should do it. Well, that's not necessarily the case. Just because I can go eat chocolate doesn't mean I should go eat a pound of chocolate. Okay? And so I just really like this aspect of reading that debate against feminists. So another thing, she goes on and talks a little bit about marriage, where it talks about a woman is never a man's life, in the sense that a man is a woman's life. Woman was made for man, not man for woman. So she talks a little bit about the marriage. She also talks about women's role on page 130. She says, the mature woman acknowledges that submission is no more a sign of weakness in her than it was in the Son of Man. And I thought that was really profound. A lot of times we think submission equals weakness, but it isn't. Jesus submitted, so does that mean he's weak? No, it doesn't. Another book I wanted to mention is called Passion and Purity by Elisabeth Elliot, and this is about dating and about courtship and stuff like that. And one thing I really like that she said on page 93 is this: call a spade a spade. If you're passionate aroused, say so to yourself and to God, not to the object of your passion. And I thought that was really interesting, something I'm still working on there. Another thing I really like is she talked about the differences between men and women and how that is good, but we also need to understand as women, because this was written to women, that men are different from us, and we can't expect them to be us. She also talks about that as well in Let Me Be a Woman. And I read them too, so I highly suggest you read both of them, because both of them kind of go hand in hand with each other. But in it, she talks about how women are always tempted to be initiators. On page 94, it goes on and says, we like to get things done. It appears to us that men often ignore and evade issues. Women respond to this tendency by insisting on confrontation. We can't dragoon our men into that. We nag, we plead, we have a large bag of tricks. Ultimately, I just really liked reading Passion and Purity and hearing the story of Elisabeth and her husband and how they ended up marrying each other. It was kind of encouraging, honestly, listening to the failures of the time that they both went too far, listening about how different they are, yet, they still got married and everything, I guess, and the obstacles that they faced. And I just really think that this story really breaks the hallmark of romance, the hallmark movies that we watch about romance, that we see that marriage is so much more. It's about sacrifice and sacrificial love, and over all of it is looking to God as the guide of your life, and to see if that's where God is calling you to be. Because God, if both of you are looking towards God, then he will direct you. And so that's just something I really liked about reading Passion and Purity. Another book that I really liked is called You're Not Enough by Beth Stuckey. This was actually a book I had requested for Christmas, and I actually got it for Christmas, so that was awesome. So this was really just all about the detoxing from self-love culture. Beth goes and says the two key tenets of the cult are authenticity and autonomy, being true to yourself and maintaining control over your life. That was on page 36. So she talks all about how we are not enough. I don't know if you're out there and you listen to all this, but you should notice that people say a lot of times, you're enough, you just work hard enough, you'll be enough. But honestly, we are enough, because if we were enough, we didn't need Christ to die for us. She talks a lot about self-betterment and how that can be us trying to be enough. She talks about how Satan would love nothing more. Satan would love nothing more than for us to waste our time with fleeting efforts in self-betterment while people around us are suffering. She also just talks about the sacrifice that women have the opportunity to give in being single, a wife, or a mother, and how this is good instead of going on our own on some kind of journey to find ourselves, and that we need to finish all our bucket lists, and that how giving ourselves sacrificially to others is wasting our life. That's not wasting our life. And so I just really like her just directing that focus away from self and to others. Last book, and I think the book that has really left the most impact on me. Each one has left some impact on me, but I think the one that really has just hit home to me more than any of the books thus far is this one. It's called Holier Than Thou. It's by Jackie Hill Perry. Actually, if you guys want to know more about her, I'll put her YouTube link down below. I'll also put Elisabeth Stuckey YouTube down below, so you guys can check both of these women out. They're really both of these women out. So yeah, but this book was really just about the holiness of God. And I'll be honest, when I first opened up this book and decided to read it, and I did request this as a Christmas gift, but I just thought it would be good for me to read, but I didn't think I would get that much out of it. Of course, pride, there you go. But really, it's about how God's holiness helps us she says helps us to trust him. But God's holiness also helps us to see that we're sinful. Something interesting I think she said is this: starting a gospel presentation with, "Do you know you're a sinner?" is the wrong way to begin. Sharing that good news, we should begin with, "Did you know that God is holy?" Because it is when we see God is holy, then do we see we're sinful. We're like asking a blind person, "Do you know what dark looks like?" Well, we don't really know how dark something is until we see the light. She goes on and talks a lot about how we try to be God and how we act like God is some human and therefore not holy and therefore not trustworthy. She goes on and talks about how we are stunned by his judgment because we're too used to his grace and mercy. And I would go so far to say that as humans, we think we are endowed by some kind of idea that we deserve God's blessing, when in reality we don't. We deserve God's damnation. And so to sum that up, it's the aspect that anything that's not damnation from God is God's grace and mercy. And I think that's something interesting when we see that even the air we breathe is grace, and that we are in damnation, in the pit of hell is mercy. So yeah. Hey y'all. So thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope you guys go on and check out these 5 books that I read over the winter. And I really hope these books will encourage you to have a closer walk with the Lord, to realize how he is the creator, he is God, he is in control of our lives and not vice versa. We can play the director, but in reality, we're just a player. And we shouldn't doubt that God does his part, won't do his part just because we don't do ours at all. So with that being said, thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe, push that bell button and get notification. So please subscribe, push that bell button to get notifications so you never miss another video again. And I'll see you guys next time. God bless you.